Welcome back to Askewed Reviews, and this week we are continuing with the Phantasm series, and today's film is the 1994 movie Phantasm III, Lord of the Dead. Here is your trivia question for today. For the first time in the series, the dwarves and the spheres have names. What are they called? The answer will be at the end of this episode. So our film starts off exactly where the last one was ending, with both Mike and Liz being taken off. They do manage to escape, but right away, and I do mean right away, Liz is killed right off. Reggie does manage to escape with Mike, but Mike really needs some assistance, so Reggie takes him to a hospital. We then pick up 2 years later, where Mike is now waking up from a coma. Also, apparently, while Mike was under, they must have done some plastic surgery to him, as now he looks a bit more like he did in the original film. Now, whether or not it was a dream or actual reality, we find out that Jody is back, but his soul is trapped within one of the spheres. And almost immediately after waking up, Mike is now kidnapped by the tall man. Reggie, of course, makes it his mission to go and rescue Mike, so he continues to check each and every town that the tall man has been to. In one of these towns, he ends up running into a group of people that are a bit nefarious and seem to have some evil intentions for him. Now, this group tries to hide out in one of the houses in this town, but they apparently choose the wrong one, as each and every one of these criminals ends up getting home alone to death. The child who accomplishes this is named Tim, and he ends up saving Reggie's life. So the two of them start working together. It seems like it's just going to be the two of them for a while until they run into this badass girl named Rocky, who also ends up joining them. So will our new group of heroes be able to band together, find Mike, and finally stop the tall man? The third film in this series is once again written and directed by Don Coscarelli. Coscarelli was also quite happy that he was able to reoffer the role of Mike back to Michael Baldwin, since he was not able to be in the sequel, and it had now been 16 years since he had played that character. So I definitely understand the respect that Coscarelli was showing to Bill Thornbury by allowing him to come back and play Jody, but I do find this as a really questionable choice, as Jody was supposed to be dead, and supposedly this is his ghost, so we find out that apparently ghosts can age in this series. The character of Rocky is played by Gloria Lynn Henry, and she's actually the only main female character in the entire series that doesn't die or ends up being a false image of the tall man. Michael Baldwin's wife, Jennifer Bross, was actually offered a cameo in the film, and she appears as the nurse at the beginning. Two of Coscarelli's own children actually appear as some of the orphans in the orphanage scene. Due to a photo, this is the first time that we get to see Reggie's family, the family that died in the second film. Bob Ivy is the stuntman who actually did the hearse flying off the ramp sequence that occurs in this movie. The hearse actually went off a 7-foot ramp and went over 160 feet through the air. Ivy would also play a demon trooper in the fourth Phantasm movie, and he would also appear as Bubba Hotep in the film named after that character. The interior shots of the mausoleum are actually filmed at a real mausoleum in Compton, California, which is called Angela's Abbey Mausoleum. At the very end credits of this film, it mentions that the motion picture is protected, and if you break these laws, you will incur the wrath of the tall man. Coscarelli admits that after creating the script for this film, he had absolutely no ideas for any sequels. There was also an alternate ending filmed for this movie where Reggie and Tim travel to the Alaskan wilderness and bury a small case with the gold sphere in it. A plaque is placed above the grave saying, "Here lies the tall man, R.I.P." The final line would have been Reggie saying, "Now, all we have to worry about is global warming." So when it comes to the film Phantasm III, Lord of the Dead, this is another one in the series that I didn't feel was a ton better than its previous films, but definitely not worse either. There were some things that I definitely did enjoy more, but not enough for me to push up its score. So I'm still going to give this one a 3 out of 5. Now for the trivia question from the beginning of this episode. For the first time in the series, the dwarves and the spheres have names. What are they called? This film seems to be the only one that gives names to these creatures, as they don't really mention it in the following two sequels, but the dwarves are called lurkers, and the spheres are called sentinels. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Askewed Reviews, and if there is a movie you'd like to see get a review, just mention it in the comments.